Hello, what is up? Coming to you live from the Sunshine Coast. Some of you may not recognize me because the beard is gone. Had a little Britney Spears moment the other day and trimmed it off. So I posted that on Instagram, and ironically, it got more views than all of the thoughtful content that I try to create. But I digress. Today, I wanted to look at an integration. One of my favorites, the Roll A into the QDR. So both of these skills are within the Locomotion Flow 2.0 program. The QDR is a more advanced skill when we start to lift the head and feet off the ground and start to incorporate that arm balancing into that elbow lever. And the Roll A though is the very first skill in the course. And today I wanted to look at the details in the Roll A itself, maybe point out a few things that you might not be aware of, things that I'm still evolving and refining and learning as I continue with my practice. And so that's the great thing about this stuff, that the refinement and the details never end. Just when you think you've got something figured out, you realize there's a whole nother world within just one skill. And that's why I love the depth and complexity of this, if you're willing to investigate. So you'll have to forgive me for coming to you at a different time than the usual 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time this morning, because I have a meeting that I couldn't adjust at that time. So I wanted to still honor the commitment to get alive to you today. So I'm down here in the skate park and I forgot my shoes. So I'm going to try and work on this concrete and see how we go. So I'm going to put you down here. Oh, lovely. And we're just going to take a look at the Roll A to start with. And when we're learning these skills, initially, the first stage of learning is just knowing where to put the hands and the feet. We've just got to figure that out first. And we can't really play with the detail or the finesse or the grace or the softness as yet, because our conscious mind has to think, where the hell are my hands and feet going? Once we get through that stage and that becomes automatic, that pattern becomes something automated within our nervous system, within our neurology, we can start to find the flow and the softness within the skill. So I want you to pay attention to the Roll A, to a couple of details. So I'll do one and then I'll just explain what I mean. From our low squat, now, I want to point out a couple of details with the Roll A. When you're learning and you first attempt it, it generally looks like this. And that's okay, because really when you're learning, you're trying to think, where do my hands and feet have to go? But as we evolve and we get better, the way to add your flavor to this stuff and that flow and grace is to pay attention to the details. Now, a couple of details. When I initiate the Roll A, nice soft hand placement, as I reach this hand and shift my weight, you'll notice that I can start to push this leg out to create a circle. So as I reach, the circle begins on that outside foot. You'll also notice there's a level change or a bounce from low to high to low. You'll also notice there's a circle on the last foot as it pulls in. So there's a symmetry to this move. There's a circle, a bounce, and a circle. So let's take a look, nice and slow. So I'm gonna reach, circle, lift, shrink back down, and circle with this foot. Like so. You'll also notice as I'm withdrawing the hands, I'm really trying to pull elbow first, elbow, wrist, fingers, to give it that beautiful sort of softness, rather than just So there's a couple of details I would like you to pay attention to and play with your roll A. The QDR, of course, if you've worked your way through that, there's levels to the QDR. Nice, wide wrist placement from the low squat. We twist our knees inward. We try to get our elbow perpendicular above our wrist to create the pillar. We plant the hip on top of the elbow. The head goes down for support. We back step. And if you're comfortable, we take the bottom foot off. The head can come up. Like so. So the progression chain here is head down initially. If you can load it up and hold that for 5 to 10 seconds, you can start to lift the head off the ground. And then from there, there's all the more advanced progressions in the course itself. But for today, if you're up for it, I would just suggest working with the progression that you can manage. Whether it's just this, or maybe it's this, or maybe it's this, or maybe it's even this. So this integration is pretty cool because there's a couple of little nuances to pay attention to, which is different to practicing the two skills in isolation. If I demonstrate, like so. So what you'll notice is the roll A isn't completed. It's completed halfway, and on the halfway point is when I'm planting the hip. And then when I'm exiting, I'm doing a half twist, pushing out of my QDR so that I'm squatting back into the same direction as I started. For example, side on view, I do my roll A, and I'm straight down into my QDR. And to exit, I'm pushing this way. Notice how I'm squatting the same direction as I started. To go back the other way, roll A, QDR, same direction as I started. So this is a really nice combination to integrate those two moves from the Locomotion Flow 2.0 course. I'll give you one more. So hopefully there's a couple of details in there for you. This concrete is rather terrible on my feet, I have to say. I really wish I had brought my little shoes. But thank you for tuning in, guys. I hope you got something out of this video. Any questions, please drop me a comment. If you give it a go, please drop some videos, send me some videos, or feel free to drop them in here in the private Facebook group. Okay. Have a sweet day, and I will talk to you all later.